House Committee on Natural Resources, Environment, Tourism, and Outdoor Recreation will come to order. Will the clerk please take attendance?
Chair Pohutsky.
Here.
Representatives Hill.
Here.
Shannon.
Present.
Arbit.
Yes.
McFall.
Here.
Here.
Pies.
Present.
Martin.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have 9 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Rep. Pies moves to approve the minutes from our previous meeting on October 26th. Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved. Today we are going to be voting on House Bill 4359, which is sponsored by Representative Brayback. We heard testimony on September 28th. There is an H1 substitute being offered. Representative, if you want to step forward and explain your substitute, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me to testify on this H1 sub. It's really straightforward. The sub still repeals the act that preempts local communities from creating ordinance that would institute a ban on plastic, but I want to be really clear. This bill now only applies to plastic bags and not to all the auxiliary containers and other single-use plastics that was originally before you. So simply put, again, and I know we talked about this before, this is an issue of local control. So this bill allows local municipalities to make their own decisions about regulating single-use plastic bags. We talked about this back in September. Several municipalities have done this already, but 21 states have also allowed their local municipalities to enforce bans and fees on plastic bags. Here's what we know about single-use plastic bags. They're non-biodegradable. They can, that pollution, scientists say, can take hundreds of years, if not millennium, to break down. And reducing bag use can mitigate harmful impacts to our oceans, rivers, lakes, forests, and wildlife. So municipalities should be given the opportunity to regulate the certain use of plastics, should they wish to. And so by repealing the ban on plastic bags, this bill empowers our local communities to fight for a more sustainable future. Thank you again for allowing me to testify, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Rep. McFall has a question.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Quick question: when you say plastic bags, is that only the bags that walk out the door with groceries, or is it also the bags for fruits and vegetables and everything else?
My understanding is that it's going to be all the bags, any bag in terms of the material is the issue. Right?
Okay.
The material is the issue. So that's going to be something that folks are going to have to navigate.
Okay.
But what we have found is that with the municipalities really focusing on this, the focus is on those single-use plastic bags.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Minority Vice Chair Martin has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just keep coming back to a question in my head. You know, I hear a lot now of environmental justice, and I know, you just said that it's a hazardous type material, never breaks down and so forth. So why would a municipality care about that if it's not detrimental to the entire state? Why wouldn't there be a larger scope to this?
So that's a great question. Actually, our state has, historically there was. This only has been in effect since 2016. This ban for local municipalities to do this, and so they're well, I guess that's actually the reverse. I mean, I wish that we did do this statewide, but they're allowing our local municipalities to make this determination if it's right for their communities. It is where we are, and it's what some local municipalities are calling for.
I'm still just trying to wrap my head around why we're saying in this committee here they're bad, and we'll let a municipality make a decision. But if it's bad, why don't we have a sponsor making it a larger scope? Which I'm not for, but I'm just saying it just seems putting the onus on a municipality when the discussion is that it's bad.
So I would love that. If someone wants to do that, I will be there to support it.
All right, great. Seeing no other questions, thank you very much,
Chair.
Representative Brayback. I will take a motion to adopt the H1 substitute to House Bill 4359. Representative Shannon makes the motion. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
On the motion to adopt the substitute, Chair Pohutsky.
Yes.
Representatives Hill.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Arbit.
Yes.
McFall.
Yes.
Pies.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Schreiber.
No.
Madam Chair, you have 8 yeas, 1 nay, 0 pass. The substitute for House Bill 4359 is adopted.
Thank you very much. We do have a couple of cards to read in. Wishing to speak for a couple of minutes and opposing the bill is Taylor from the American Recyclable Plastic Bag Alliance. Are you here? Great, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you for having me. I'm Zachary Taylor. I'm the director of the American Recyclable Plastic Bag Alliance. We represent the U.S. manufacturers and recyclers of plastic carryout bags, 30,000 employees across the country. I'm here today to share a few thoughts. First and foremost, the substitute adopted today does not apply only to carryout bags. It would apply to any bag in the store, regardless of material. So you think about walking through a grocery store, all the various items that are in bags could be regulated under this. The scope of this is incredibly complex, incredibly broad. Granting this local authority opens the door to a patchwork of local taxes, bans, and other complex regulations. We've seen this in Massachusetts, where there are 155 different local bag rules. That means more costs for consumers, more complications for businesses, and higher prices for everyone. We urge the committee to reject this proposal and preserve uniformity across the state. Today, upstairs, there's a meeting talking about extended producer responsibility, which will invest in the state's recycling system. This is a better approach than targeting individual products for bans and taxes. This is important to note. Plastic bags account for 0.6% of items collected in a nationwide litter survey done by Keep America Beautiful. The US EPA says they account for 0.3% of material that goes into our landfills. They simply are not large contributors to litter or waste concerns. And so the cost of these options, the cost of these bans outweigh any benefits because the alternative products are still made from plastic, they're not recyclable, they're imported from overseas, and they're more expensive for shoppers who are already struggling to afford their food. We'd like to work with this committee and the legislature on ways to improve recycling, improve collection, and make sure that consumers know they can return their grocery bags to the store. But targeting these American-made products that are recyclable in favor of alternative plastics that are more expensive and not recyclable makes very little sense when you consider the environmental impact of these alternatives. Thank you very much for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Vice Chair Hill?
How many recycling facilities are there in Michigan?
For plastic bags?
Yeah.
Plastic bags are collected through the store drop-off program where they are then returned to other processors across the country. In 2021, the most recent year for which data is available, 264 million pounds of plastic bags and film were returned. 88% of what was returned was processed in North America.
And where are those facilities?
So they're located across the country. One of our member companies just announced a new partnership with Nova Chemical to process an additional 100 million pounds per year at their facility in North Vernon, Indiana, where they also manufacture bags.
And I guess I'm going to talk about my age here for a second. We didn't used to have this product. And I think I was able to get my groceries home. I do have memories of being able to do that. So I guess I don't understand, and I appreciate that American ingenuity has created something that didn't exist. That's a very good thing, and I do salute that. But I do, if it's the ability to, I guess, sorry, we were up until 3 in the morning. I apologize, everybody. My brain just went blank. But it does seem that the plastics that capacity to build that make that plastic, there may be other ways to innovate. And I wondered if the facilities that are making these bags also make other products.
We represent the U.S. manufacturers and recyclers of plastic retail bags. When plastic bags and film are returned to the store for recycling, they can be processed into other materials. There are companies in Michigan that do that, including Petoskey Plastics, which takes recycled polyethylene and uses it to make their products that they offer to the marketplace. When you compare what will replace these products, I think this is important. These stitched handle reusable bags at the grocery store that they sell for $1 or $2, those are made from plastics like polypropylene, polyethylene terephthalate, that are not recyclable in the United States. They're not made in the United States. They contain far more material. They have a much higher emissions profile. They use more water in their production, and they have a higher impact on the planet. That's what life cycle assessment, after life cycle assessment done by the Recycling Authority of Quebec, the UK government, the Danish government have all found. And so when we're talking about policies that force stores and shoppers to switch to more expensive alternatives that are worse for the planet, this policy isn't actually sustainable.
Which is considering the amount of canvas and paper and cloth bags that I have in my coat closet right now, I think that we probably may even have enough bags for everyone in the country right now.
Yeah, if I may, the New York Times did a review of the Danish study on bag impacts and found that cotton totes require between 7,000 to 20,000 reuses to offset their environmental impact. Using a bag every day for 55 years is equivalent to 20,000 reuses. So just the idea that switching to an alternative material is somehow more sustainable if they have a higher environmental impact, it only makes sense if you can reuse it enough times to offset that, and most consumers do not do that.
Rep. Pies.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, it's way over here. Thank you. A couple quick questions. Statement, I guess. In my city, I know Kroger used to collect the shopping bags. I don't know that they still do. I've had to use them on occasion with eggs or emergency or something. But one of the reasons that my city stopped recycling was, well, one I won't get into, but the other one was the bags weren't being recycled because they damaged the recycling equipment as they go through. So even though the bag itself may be recyclable, I'm wondering how do we deal then with that? And also I'm wondering if you've seen this in other cities and how many cities perhaps, or what the effect has been there.
Thank you for both of those questions. I'll address the first if that's all right. Plastic bags are generally not accepted for curbside recycling for the reason that you outlined. That's why we work with our retail partners to highlight the store take-back program, where they can be separated from the other waste stream, the other recycling stream, and returned to facilities that can handle them, can process them, and then they're turned into new bags. Our companies are working to increase the amount of recycled content in their products year over year. As far as the second question goes, there are around 260 local ordinances on the books across the country today. 60% of those are in Massachusetts, the 155 I mentioned earlier. Most states limit the ability of communities to do this with the recognition that a single uniform policy is better for businesses. In Los Angeles, there was research done that showed when local communities do enact these types of taxes and bans, shoppers will vote with their feet. And so stores in the regulated area saw sales decrease by as much as 10%. Stores outside the regulated area saw sales increase. And that can lead to headcount reductions, particularly for businesses that operate in incredibly tight margins. So there are local communities that have the authority to do this, but it doesn't always lead to good outcomes. Needham, Massachusetts, one of the more recent communities to pass a bag restriction, accidentally banned any bag with any amount of plastic in it, so lunch boxes, backpacks, the cinch sacks that kids bring to soccer practice. So it's not as simple and straightforward as saying plastic is bad and we need to ban it, because the replacement products, again, are also made from plastic. The plastic bags at the grocery store today are made here in the United States. They're recyclable. They're the ones that every life cycle assessment has found have the least environmental impacts as long as they're disposed of properly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for being up here. Seeing no further questions, we do have some cards to read in. Not wishing to speak, opposing the bill, Jason Hayes from the Mackinac Center for Public Policy. Not wishing to speak, opposing the bill, Michael Lamo from the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Karen Lethan from the Michigan Manufacturers Association. Amy Drum from the Michigan Retailers Association. Eric Douglas from the Home Depot. Not wishing to speak, supporting the bill, Liz Kirkwood for the Love of Water. Not wishing to speak, supporting the bill, John Lamacchia from the Michigan Municipal League. Not wishing to speak, opposing the bill, the American Petroleum Institute. And also the Michigan Association of Convenience Stores. Not wishing to speak, opposing the bill, Anne Marie Treglia from Dark Container. Michael Hodges from Hutamaki. Hatamaki, close enough. Not wishing to speak, opposing the bill, Carol Patterson from the Food Service Packaging Institute, Jeff Stoutenberg from Dow Chemical, Tim Langholz from NFIB, and Derek Bajima from the Michigan Soft Drink Association. Wishing to speak in support of the bill is Dr. Nicole Kiwe-Bieber from the Ottawa Tribal Citizens. You can come on forward. If you can, we are running up against a deadline, so I apologize. If we can keep it to about 5 minutes. Thank you.
There it is. Good morning, afternoon almost. Nicole Kiwe-Bieber, Dishinakas, Waganakisinodawa Nishinabekwe. I think I just briefly want to say a reason why I support this bill is the plastic bags, I think, are one of the most ubiquitous examples of just single-use plastics in general. When I sometimes forget my own bag and I don't quickly say like, oh, I'll take the paper because I can use it in the garden. Those bags just sort of end up under the sink and then there they are. And I think if they're disposed of correctly is a really large if in this, because I think part of the problem is that we're so accustomed to the seeming convenience of plastics and of single-use plastics just across so much of our daily lives that the problem is we don't stop to question what the effects are, and now we're just left to deal with what have been really massively destructive effects. And certainly the single-use plastics are very damaging to our waterways, to wildlife, and there's just a real need for all of us living at this moment to just get very realistic that the convenience that we've become accustomed to is nominal and it's damaging, and we all know it's not going to be easy to do these large-scale changes, but it's very necessary for us to. So this is a big step, and I think it's an encouraging one for all of us to realize it's going to take hard work, but it's very necessary work. Miigwech.
Thank you very much. And lastly, not wishing to speak, opposing the bill is John McNamara from the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. I will now take a motion to report House Bill 4359 as substitute H1 with recommendation. Motion made by Vice Chair Hill. Madam Clerk, will you please call the vote?
On the motion to report, Chair Pohutsky.
Yes.
Representatives Hill.
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Arbit.
Yes.
McFall.
Yes.
Pies.
Yes.
Martin.
No.
Preston.
No.
Shriver.
No.
Madam Chair, you have 6 yeas, 3 nays, 0 pass. House Bill 4359 is reported as substituted.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Having no absent members to excuse and there being no further business, the committee stands adjourned.